Hi friends, Magus Supreme here coming at you guys with my Magic 101 video. I've been talking about this video for about 2 weeks now. I'm finally sitting down and getting recorded. I was going to make it like a whole big thing, like, bring out my ring light and like, record it like a whole little lecture thing with editing, but I'm like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that I frame this more like I'm talking to you guys and not lecturing at you. So I just decided to go on my low rent setup. I have my laptop here with the script that I wrote to help keep me on track and make sure that, this is an actually cohesive and coherent video. And I'm not just sitting in front of the camera, and just like talking about whatever comes to my head. So there is something I did write for this video, and I'm pretty much like, if you guys see me looking to like my left a lot, it's just because like I'm looking at the script that I wrote to make sure that I touch on everything that I wanted to talk about, and to keep it going. So with that out of the way, this Magickcraft 101 video is focused on what is magic and how does it work. Now, keep in mind that this is like my view of magic. This isn't like anything that's like heavily cemented, even though this did come to me mostly intuitively. My observations on various magic systems, like both ancient and new, and just like really getting down to the key distilled factors of all of it. So this is pretty much like my synthesis, my symposium, very basic synthesis of what is magic and how does it work, as through my understanding and experience as well. So with that out of the way, I will start reading my script. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to thank everyone who's watching this video with an open mind and a willingness to learn something new or to just expand your perspective. Everyone has their own idea about what magic is and like, what it is and how does it work. But I thank you guys for actually taking the time and listen to little old me talk about it and talk about what I've learned and what I've experienced and what I put together about magic. It really does mean a lot to me, and I thank you guys for showing such interest in this video. So, the first thing that I'm going to say is that magic is something that is prevalent in literally every culture. In every corner of the world, there are stories of mystics, sages, and even gods who rule over the domain of magic, or at least practice it in some kind of way. In ancient Egypt, they had the Neteru. The Neteru Thoth, or, well, Tahuti as he's called, but Thoth as we know him, is their god of magic. In ancient Sumerian culture, there was Enki, who was the god of magic and alchemy. And in Greek culture, we have Hecate. A lot of you guys know Hecate. She's very, very famous among pagan and other witches, So you guys know Hecate. But what a lot of people don't know is that even in the Abrahamic faith, such as Christianity, Catholicism, I don't know what else is Abrahamic, but between those two things, the father of magic, or at least like the first practitioner of magic, was Adam. He was the first person to ever be blessed with the secrets of magic after being cast out of Eden. Now, this isn't like, a video solely focused on the Abrahamic faith, so I won't go into details about that. But if you guys would like to know about it, you can always leave a comment below, and, I can talk a little bit about it. I had initially planned on talking a lot about it, but that's just superfluous information. It's not important to the video. But most people tend to think of magic as this dark and mysterious thing. But what most people don't realize is that most people do magic without even realizing it or noticing that they're even doing it. A key example can be seen in something that is just like very harmless, which is what we call like good, or what I call good luck rituals. We do rituals for luck, such as blowing on dice or wearing lucky underwear on the day of a test. These rituals bring luck because we feel and believe they do. And this is actually our first hint into what magic actually and truly is. So let's see. So the next phase of this is the next part of this video is titled "What is Magic?" Now, Merriam-Webster describes magic as the power of apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. I find this definition to be pretty apt, and I do want to add some context by saying some context, not content. Want to add some context by saying that magic is the use of attention or our will to create to cause supernatural forces to bend reality to our purpose. It's kind of the same as what Merriam-Webster says, but I do want to add the caveat that this is done through our will and our intention, and not just telling supernatural forces what to do. I add air quotes, like, because these forces are supposed to be supernatural, but I add air quotes around supernatural purely for the reason that I am of the opinion that the forces we define as supernatural are actually quite natural indeed and very intrinsic to the fabric of our reality. They're just as natural as the air we breathe or the water we drink. And being in communion with those spirits, those spiritual forces, or the spiritual side of life and the life of spirits is something that we as a people has become disconnected from. Now, I do mostly think that this disconnect from the spiritual side mostly comes from the colonization of Christianity. I think Christianity done a lot to really suppress a lot of the things that Jesus himself came and told us about, things that were already naturally well known to like I said, many different cultures around the world. And Jesus just kind of came and solidified that belief, and it solidified a lot of ancient teachings for the people, and to really bring it in and fulfill a lifelong prophecy that was given to a certain sect of people. With Christianity isn't really always focused on, the things that Jesus said, or even places importance on on the parts of the Bible that Jesus actually spoke and that Father actually spoke on. Christianity really did a lot to really damage people's connection to the spirit, which was the greatest gift that Jesus came and gave to all the people of the world after he was betrayed and persecuted by the Jews. Father opened up the gift of the spirit to everyone, because everyone became his people. Everyone had a chance to get to know him, and not just the Jews. So with Christianity, that kind of just reversed a lot of the hard work that Jesus came and that he died for and that he brought here, which is getting us to realize that spiritual forces, the spiritual nature, our connection to the universe, the divine, the all, the creator, is something that is to be treasured and valued, that angels are real, that elemental spirits are real, that everything in this world has a life and essence and a spirit and a vibration. And that was kind of lost through the moral colonization of Christianity. One other thing that I want to add is that, the closer you are to these supernatural forces, the more likely they are to respond to your intentions. Magic is a lot about building that connection, about building that muscle towards the spiritual side of life, towards the spirits that govern and help rule over, well, not govern, but oversee our reality and sometimes govern our reality. This is a very deep thing, and this is just a 101 video, keep in mind. So I'm going to be speaking of these things, but I won't be elaborating too much because these are more topics for maybe 201 or Magus level Magickcraft series. But since it's just 101, I'll say these things. I won't go too much into details. If you want to hear more and pick my brain about it more, you can reach out to me through the comments section. If you guys follow me on Facebook, Instagram, talk to me there. But yes, the key base idea about magic and how you can become more powerful in magic is by building that connection, doing that work on your inner temple. And this is why, doing shadow work and building faith and doing things like that is important, and why stuff like that actually contributes to your ability to manifest. Another thing that I do want to add is that the idea that no one person is more powerful in magic than another is, in and of itself, a misunderstanding of the workings of magic. And in order to understand this claim that I just made better, we have to explore how this magic truly works. there's a pervasive belief in, like, modern spirituality that, oh, we're all the same, we're all equal, like no one is more powerful than the other. But it's hogwash. It's a lot of things. It's what, and I hate to say this, but it's more so just like participation trophies for people. Like how you give kids participation trophies because you don't want them to feel bad, even though they didn't put in the same amount of effort as the person who got first place did, but you don't want them to feel bad about it, or feel bad about not really achieving. Kind of placating them instead of pushing them to strive and do better and to work harder. You're kind of just like, oh, it's okay, you're special too, Timmy. That's not how life really works. That's not the reality of magic. There are people who are more powerful than other people in terms of magic, because there's people who take the time to work and develop a connection to the spiritual forces that they entreat for aid and to help them bend reality. Um, Whether that's forces with the light or with the dark. Like your connection to those forces really does determine your spiritual and magical power. That's something that a lot of people aren't really aware of and don't really know. A lot of people think that being of the light and being a light worker and being like a person who does no harm means that you got to tell these soft little lies to people, or that you got to make everyone feel validated. And oftentimes, yeah, people are going to feel validated, but part of being a light worker is also telling the truth of the matter. And if you're always trying to gloss over the harsh truths and just like put a light little spin on it, then you're doing the people a disservice by trying to cater to their feelings and things of that nature instead of just getting them to look at themselves. Life in reality can be tough, can be cruel, and can be harsh. And there are people who are more powerful than you out there, because there are people who are very dedicated to serving their higher selves. They're serving the spirits, whether it's demonic or angelic, whether they're aligned with the darkness or the light. There are people who are very committed and dedicated to serving what it is that they serve. And it's those faithful servants of those energies, those spirits, those things that can get them to influence this reality. You hear a lot that this 3D reality is an illusion. And in a lot of my dreams, it kind of gets reinforced. Like this is kind of like a video game, or kind of like, people behind a screen watching their lives. And there's that theory that we are an expression of creator, a father, experiencing his joy and his blessings through like our forms, and just experiencing himself through us. And there is a little bit of a truth to that, because this reality is constructed and fabricated to serve as a template for us to be here and to do things and to get more accustomed to touching into that, what we call the God particle, or like that deep connective part of ourselves, that seed of power that Father is in, that Jesus came and died for, so that we can have access to that part of ourselves. And it's just not relegated to high priest or to shamans or gurus. Everyone can do magic now. And that was the thing that happened when Jesus died. When he died in the veil and all the altars were burnt, all of a sudden that veil that separated people from the spirit no longer exists. And that's why everyone has the capacity to do magic. But having the capacity to do magic doesn't mean that everyone can do magic equally. And that's something that we have to like really come to understand. And to understand that better, we need to delve into how magic truly works. So, how does magic work? And I'll talk about it. So what we call magic or spiritual power is actually the closeness of the connection that we facilitated to the spirits that we call to for aid. Whether it be angels, ancestors, elemental spirits, or any other thing that you can think of, those who facilitate a connection go through their own initiations and awakenings successfully, because you can, and this is another thing that a lot of people don't really like to really mention, because you can fail an initiation. You can refuse to awaken spiritually. You can completely miss the point of whatever it is that you're going through. You can completely miss the point of whatever a certain challenge in your life is trying to teach you. And then you're just doomed to repeat that cycle until you finally get it. But The fact of the matter is that those people who successfully go through their initiations, or the people who just have a natural soul-born connection to the spiritual realm, can enjoy more powerful and immediate benefits of magic. Um, there is, in fact, a hierarchy. There's a hierarchy to all things because Father is a God of order, not chaos. Chaos is free flowing. Everyone's equal. Everyone does what they want to do. But true order is hierarchical. The angels are in a hierarchy. In every other culture, like even in just and from my example, Norse mythology, how they talk about the world tree. There's hierarchy of the realms. And Chinese mythology and culture, there's seven hierarchies of heaven. Like there's a hierarchy to all things because the hierarchy creates natural order. We as people tend to be very rebellious against hierarchical things. We take structure as a way to limit our freedom. It's part of why we're considered rebellious beings to Father because we rebel against order, structure, and ultimately a lot of the things that the light stand for. But it's all good. It's all right. So, it's usually those people who have a more reverence and respect for the spirits that intrinsically coexist alongside us and welcome their wisdom and guidance and their aid. These people, those people that have those qualities and aspects, are the ones that are more powerful, that can more easily manifest, that can have those kind of things just kind of come into their life. And I'll use myself as an example. Like if I wasn't so limited by my logical mind and my beliefs, I can really have anything that I want. But I am kind of trapped, and by my own admission, kind of trapped in my logical mind. I know that I have a very powerful and potent connection, but a lot of the things that I manifest are things that I only believe can happen. Like I wanted a job with that working overnight, and I got it. Before I wanted a job working in the morning, I got it. I wanted a job making only $15 an hour. I got that twice. If I wanted more and if I wanted to believe and manifest more, I could have it. But there's a limiting belief inside myself that I have to confront and overcome first. And that's just something that just to tell you, like, I can manifest. I do have a powerful connection. I am a powerful mage, a wizard, things of that nature. But I limit my own power. And this might be something that some of you guys need to hear as well. You limit your own power by what you believe that you can do and achieve. And in the case of those of you who are connected on a soul level, you have this connection whether you like it or not. Okay? So you might as well just get used to it and grow the connection. There's people out there who are naturally connected to the spiritual side, but completely reject that gift or that aspect of themselves. They refuse their spiritual nature and want to stay plugged into, this reality and things like that. But it's usually those people that have like very spiritual experience, but they can't really put it into words, or they just deny it and write it off as coincidences. If you experience a lot of things, well, if you that kind of person, you probably wouldn't be watching this video. But if you happen to be that kind of person and you're here at this video, this is yet again another one of those spiritual experiences bringing you somewhere to let you know, like, no, spirits are real, you're connected to them. Come say hi. Come talk to us. Come grow the connection. Come get to know us. We have things we want to tell you and we want to help you because you have a set plan and you need to do it. But of course, anyone can do magic. And of course, I stated that many people work magic without being aware of doing it. But the difference in power comes into the fact that people who do, in fact, facilitate their connection enjoy much more depths in terms of power that they have. These people are often like clairvoyants and mediums, seers, and any other synonym for people who we call psychic or magical. It's their willingness to believe and hone these gifts that come from their connection that allow these people to access more power and to do more in terms of magic and things of that nature. Let me see. I just lost my spot. That's what I get for pressing instead of just doing this. Okay, I was here. Ah, yes. And those people who facilitate the connection can do more impressive things like reading aura, astral projection, or even predicting the future with greater accuracy, and so on and so forth. It's those people that really believe in the spirits that support them and surround them and facilitate that connection. Take the time out to connect with them, to listen, and to follow along with their guidance plan, or as I say, follow along with the curriculum that really enjoy more power and more in-depth gifts. Don't sit down here and beat yourself up just because you can't do something that the next person can. You can do it in time, with practice, with showing a greater dedication to whatever spirit you believe govern your life. If you are the governing factor of your life, if you believe yourself to be the God of your own life, then you need to believe in yourself a lot more in order to have these gifts. If you're someone who if the word God or believing that there is a God kind of makes you uncomfortable and you just rather call it universe, then you need to show a little bit more dedication to that. Get to learn whatever to define whatever it is that you call universe a little bit more, to know where you're connecting and who you're connecting to. Because the universe in and of itself is something that's expansive. Universe can be any and everything. And in a sense, you're not wrong to call God universe, but it would really help if you have like more of a definition, of more of an inkling or an idea of who and what it is that you're connecting to. And I say this before and I'll say it again. A witch or a person who doesn't meditate, who doesn't take that time to clear their mind and open themselves up as a channel, is someone whose magic can't be trusted. If only thing you know is universe, but you're not getting a name, you're not getting a particular energy, you're not getting anything out of it, you just hear universe, then you can be communicating with anything. You really have to be careful in terms of magic and spirituality a lot, and this isn't expressed enough about who and what you're connecting to. I find a lot of the times that the people who do cave in, who are a little bit of a higher vibration, end up saying God, but those who are just like starting out and getting their feet wet tends to stick with universe. Yeah, they tend to stick with that. The people who really acknowledge God as the force behind the magic, as the force behind the spiritual things, they say universe to make people feel comfortable, and I'm guilty of this as well. I say universe because I really want to make the initiates more comfortable, but you're going to come around to the fact that there's God behind this. And if you don't realize that God is behind this, the being that we know is God, creator, a source, the one which all originates, then you know you're not gonna have as strong of a connection. You're not gonna be able to enjoy too much power. But of course, even with the closest of connections and the strongest of faith and reverence in the spirits that exist with us, magic can still fail. And the failure, or fizzle, as we call it, happens for numerous reasons. And I'll just go over about 3 reasons as to why spells and manifestations can fail. So for the next part of this, we're going to talk about, even though we just talked about how magic works, we're going to talk about how magic can still fail. So, the first reason why some spells and magic fizzle is because you are out of line with your intentions. It is said that in 2 James, the 17th verse of the New Testament of the Bible, yes, I'm quoting the Bible in the magic video, please sue me. Thus also by faith itself, and it's the King James Version, thus also by faith itself, if it does not have works, is dead. This famous verse is actually quite crucial to understanding and how often understated, okay, I read this wrong. This famous verse is actually quite crucial to understanding an often understated law of magic. Many people believe that if they want to manifest, let's say $1,000, they just have to light a candle, say some affirmation, and these things will come. Well, if you're not actively trying to create a realistic venue or a stream or like a realistic avenue for this $1,000 to be brought to you, then a spell will fizzle. If you're someone who works and earns money and might start a side project, then that $1,000 might be more realistically brought to you because you stepped out and you started a project. The next thing you know, like someone might come and invest $1,000 into your project, and that's how you can gain that $1,000. But if you're just someone who's like maybe, a stay-at-home mom who doesn't play the lottery, who doesn't really do anything to try to earn, then that $1,000 isn't going to come to you. Or it might come through, like maybe if you're married, a married stay-at-home mom, then your husband might give you $1,000 just to go spend. And I experienced this myself because I was a stay-at-home husband. I wasn't working. I didn't have no avenues for revenue to come in. But I was practicing a new manifestation technique, and I was trying to manifest $100. So I did the manifestation technique, and then the next morning, my ex-fiance and I were going out to get breakfast, and he just said, "You know what? I feel like I have to do this," and he cashed at me $100 exactly. So, if you're not someone who has a realistic revenue, a realistic venue for this money to come in, then it's not going to work. And it's the same thing for anything else. Like if you want a promotion at your job and you're trying to manifest that, but every day that you're at work, you're just sitting on your ass doing something different, not really not actually doing your job, then you're not going to get that promotion. Your actions are out of line with your intentions. So remember that faith without works is dead. Like even in the Bible, it says like, even if you come across a poor person, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna pray for you to get better," but you didn't give that person anything to eat, you didn't give them any kind of money, like you just sent them off on faith, then that's just dead. Like you didn't create a revenue, you didn't become that seed for them to grow. Say, "Oh, I want you to be better," and give them $100 so they can get something to eat and maybe find somewhere to shower for the night. Then that's faith and works together. That's your faith along with your intention, and your intention and your actions working together. So that's just just one reason why spells can fizzle. If your intentions aren't in line with your actions and you're not creating a realistic venue for that manifestation to come in, then your spell isn't going to work. So on to the second reason why magic can sometimes fizzle. You are wanting to achieve or bring in something that's too far away from your life path or soul purpose. Now, people have a destiny, a dharmic path that they're meant to walk with predestined oppositions, lessons, and pinnacles that they are to reach. It is a very common human power fantasy to believe that we can transcend or shape our destiny. There are many video games and movies that kind of propagate or feature that theme. But the reality is, no one can overwrite the will of the supreme creator, or what you guys call universe, or those of us who are a little bit more higher learned or a little bit more closer spiritually know as God. You can't overwrite God's will for your life. Like you really, really can't. Before you come into this world, based on the karma of your past life, you have a plan written for your soul to maximize the growth that you're meant to experience this go around on the wheel of life. Again, these are very high concepts. If you don't know anything about reincarnation, karma, dharma, things of that nature, again, that's Magickcraft 201, Magus level, things of that nature. I suggest you either talk to me or do your own research on it, because this is just meant to be a general overview and I won't be going into those things. So if you're confused and don't really understand, I really think you should take it upon yourself to do some research and to learn. Or to just talk to me about it, because I wouldn't mind helping you out and fleshing it out. I really wouldn't mind. But the onus is on you to learn more and to become more connected about these things. You're always going to get little bits, pieces, and morsels about these things, but it's really up to you to educate yourself and to learn. So we're going to be moving right along. So before you came into this world, based off the karma of your past life, you have a plan written for your soul to maximize your growth. If you're trying to manifest yourself being a billionaire or a millionaire in this lifetime, and that's not really the plan for your life, then it's just not going to work, because maybe being a billionaire or a billionaire is going to be a hindrance or not conducive to what you need to achieve for this lifetime. You can bet that you won't be seeing that money this lifetime. Like, honestly, truly, you can bet your sweet ass that if you're trying to manifest being a billionaire or millionaire in your life, and it's not part of your soul plan to have that money, you're going to be spending your entire life trying to manifest that money, and you're going to be missing the point of what you're meant to experience with the little that you have, which is part of the reason why gratitude is something that's very important. Appreciating the little that you have and finding happiness with the little things that you do have will cause that energy to the abundance energy to expand and to bring in more and more. It's something that a lot of people talk about nowadays, and it's a true law. It's the law of attraction, one of the universal laws, that the more you appreciate the little that you have, you raise your vibration to an abundance mindset, and you can bring in more. So if you want to be a billionaire, millionaire in this lifetime, you need to learn to appreciate all the work that you've been doing and the things that you get in. But the thing is, though, that this fizzle is harder to recognize. And people often spend a good deal of their life trying to manifest something that is out of alignment with their past and lamenting it when it doesn't come true. This is why you get people who say, like, oh, I've always wanted to, some people who passed and said, "Oh, I always wanted to travel to Dubai." But the fact of the matter is, if they probably would have listened to their spiritual guidance, they probably could have got there eventually. But they made different choices as opposed to what was aligned for their soul plan. Or maybe it was just in their soul plan to not really have that experience. You never know with this kind of fizzle. Like, it's very hard to place. And this is a fizzle that if you're not very well connected to your spiritual guides, that if you're not very well in tune with what your life and soul purpose is, and a lot of people really aren't. What's your purpose readings is something that a lot of people go to and they just don't really understand, because they just miss out on all the signs of where their life is trying to take them. This fizzle is so common and it's so hard to place, and this is literally probably the biggest reason why a lot of people end up having to reincarnate anyway, because they spend so much time chasing a desire, a fancy, a want that they have, but they miss the whole entire point of what they were meant to experience and what they were meant to really bring in and do for this lifetime. So yeah, this is a very dangerous, but also a very common fizzle that happens with a lot of people. And it's really one of the saddest ones, because it can really lead to people wasting their entire life and living a life that's not as fulfilling or not as happy as it could be, because they're chasing a dream and a fantasy instead of enjoying the reality that they're meant to enjoy and that they're meant to shape and create. So that's the second reason. And again, the second reason is because what you're trying to manifest isn't in line with your soul purpose or your life plan. So now we're going to get into the third reason as to why spells fizzle. And it's just simply because you aren't ready yet. Sometimes we want something that seems simple or within our grasp, but it fails. But if it fails, it often means that we are the reason why this spell fizzled. If you're trying to manifest a promotion at your job, but in your heart of hearts, you feel that you might not be the best pick, or that the person who is in contention with you might be the better pick for the position, you can muddle your own manifestations. Standing in the way of your own manifestation is literally more common than the second reason. Like, this is like literally like the most common one, like literally the most common. You standing in the way of your own manifestation. There's still more work that you need to do, more shadow work, more belief around you, more faith that you need to build. If you haven't been picking up on it, faith and a connection to these spirits is something that's really important, and is really the currency that you need. If you lack the proper faith in yourself or in your spirit guides, then you can't do it. If you can have all the faith in the world that your spirit guides can bring a promotion to you, but that's the faith, and the works part will be you believing in yourself and your ability to achieve, putting in the actual effort and the action. Because like I said, faith without works is dead. So if you are trying to manifest a promotion at your job, but you feel deep down inside that, oh, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't think I can do this, the other person that might be better than me, but I'm going to sit here and do it, then there's a good chance that your spell might become muddled, because intention is more important than the words of what you're setting. And when your intention is confused and clouded by doubt, it's hard for the universe to like, for the spirits, the universe. I keep saying the universe so you guys don't get weirded out by me saying God and the angels. The universe has a really hard time hearing you and like really understand it because the universe knows your heart. It knows your heart of hearts. And if you're in your heart, your words are saying, "Oh, I want this promotion, I'm ready," but your heart is just clouded by doubt. It's going to listen to that heart instead of the words that you're saying. It's not going to give you anything that you're not ready for unless it wants to teach you a lesson. And listen, when the universe wants to come and teach you a lesson, it's going to teach you a lesson. But that's just something that you guys have to be ready for. It doesn't mean that that promotion isn't meant for you. It just means that you're not ready for it yet. Usually when this is like really due to a poor mindset and a lack of faith. But the good news about this fizzle is that it often happens with something that is in fact fated for you, which is a very good thing to hear. But you just don't quite believe in yourself or your guidance enough. Maybe you didn't get this promotion, but if you either go to a different company or spend a few months or years honing your self-confidence, upping your mastery of your craft, becoming better and more learned at the job, then and being attentive to the guidance and the supports that the spirits are trying to download into you, because maybe your spirit guides believe that you can have this promotion. They're telling you like, yeah, this is something that you can get and that you can have. But you got to come and rise up and meet their expectations for you. If you can't meet that expectation, if you can't match their energy, then it's just not going to work. The big part of magic is like really, if you want the spirits to bend something to your will and and manifest something to your reality, then you have to be willing to do your part and to be willing to be a partner to co-create your manifestations in your life. And that's the part that's also very understated when it comes to magic. It's not just bending forces to your will. It's working with those forces to understand your intentions and to build a life together. Again, this is something they coexist with us. We're supposed to live in harmony with them. They're not our slaves. They're not our workhorses. We can't tell them to do this and they do it, because if that was the case, then we wouldn't have manifestations that don't come true. So really remember that you are meant to be working with your spiritual guides. And if something that you want that seems simple doesn't come in, it just simply means that you're probably just not ready yet. You need to do the work on your part before they can do the work on their part to bring something in. You need the works along with the faith. And that's an important part here. So yeah. Often with this fizzle, though, you just simply aren't ready yet for what you're asking for. And it's important to realize that it's okay, because everything happens for a reason and in perfect timing. And when it's a part of your path, you know it is. Again, like if there's something that you've been hearing, like, oh, you've always had a passion for acting as a kid. You were really obsessed with it. Even when you try to get away from it, you still see signs or that's kind of pushing you into acting. Then that's how you know that acting in some kind of way is part of your path. It's something that's fated for you. And a lot of the work in your lifetime might be spent trying to believe that it's something for you, that it's something that you want, building that self-confidence, building that muscle, and having to learn all the lessons around failure, like not getting the position that you want, but how to bounce back for that stuff and be more resilient. Everything in life is meant to teach you a lesson, and that's something that's very important with magic as well. With doing true magic, is learning even with the fizzles, the failures, the misspells. There's still something to learn, or that there's still some more that you need to learn. So, in conclusion, we talked a lot about what magic is, how does it work, and a little bit of my thoughts on it. So, again, magic in and of itself is a beautiful and primordial force in this world. It's the tools that we use to connect. Magic is the tool that we use to connect to our spiritual guidance, to our spirit, to the beings around us that are natural and intrinsic to this world. Again, they're not supernatural. They're just as natural as the air that we breathe and the water that we drink. Magic is learning how to work with those forces, to get them to understand your will and intention, and for you to learn to understand their will and intention for your life as well. Magic is defined by their level of faith, your level of connection and belief to these spirits, and the level of connection and faith that you have in those, that you believe in those spirits' messages and will for you. Um, Magic simply boils down to faith, faith and intention, faith and actions, faith and works. If you don't have, if you're not putting in the proper works to match your faith, then things aren't going to work for you. Your magic isn't going to work. And it's what caused a lot of people to not really believe in magic, because they think it's just something that they can just snap their fingers and it comes to them. But no, magic is work. It's a lot of things that you have to do. It's communication. It's a form of communication with with the forces that guide our world, that help shape our reality. It's a good way for you to get in contact with them, to make your needs known, and for them to answer and respond to you and to give you what you want. But again, as we talked about throughout this video, it's not as simple, or it's not what a lot of people try to make magic seem to be. It's not this dark and mysterious thing. Magic is in fact a birthright for all human beings. If it wasn't deemed fit for us to have it, we would never know about it. Okay? And we wouldn't, and it's just really important that you guys understand that. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video, for sitting here and listening to me ramble on and on for almost an hour about magic. Thank you guys for supporting me for this video. Let me know how you like it, if this was informative, if you learned anything new. And again, if you have questions, please put them in the comments. I'll be spending today and possibly tomorrow answering comments. My birthday is in fact on Monday, and I am going out to have some fun this weekend. So keep that in mind. But I will be here to answer as many questions as I can if and when I have the time. And I won't be leaving anyone hanging on this video, because I put this out to inform others and to share a little bit of my opinion, my knowledge, and my learnings on it. And I'm going to follow through on that duty and that promise. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please be blessed and enjoy your day. Bye.